Okay.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
The picture went away. Is it Sean?
Yes, that's how my name is pronounced, Sean. Sean.
Where are you from? Or where are you now?
Uh, on the border of Wyandotte and Miami, Oklahoma. At
Oh,
home.
how'd you hear about this session?
Let's see. The Eastern Shawnee Tribe of Oklahoma shared some of y'all's promotional material.
Nice. Okay.
Yes,
So,
here we have a consortium of tribes that operate out of Ottawa County, and they're one of them. Very
okay.
active in the parenting class.
Cool. So you a dad, Sean?
Yes.
Well, come on, say more.
Oh,
Age,
okay.
number of kids, come on.
Oh, are you? I'm sorry. I didn't catch your name.
Oh, I'm sorry, Neil Tift. I'm the Parent Resource Center coordinator at Native American Fathered and Families. I'm sorry, I was gonna put my name
Neil. Okay.
there.
It
Yeah,
says Valerie, but yeah.
no, I'm not Valerie.
Yes. Well, I've got my daughter Miko, who's just came and jumped on me,
Okay,
and my she's 4, gonna be 5 this autumn, and my
okay.
son is uh just turned 7 a few days ago. It's Mr. Neil. He's the instructor for today's class.
Well,
Oh.
I'm gonna turn this off. Okay. Hi.
Hi.
What's
Can
your
you
name?
see us? Can you see us? This is oh, just a minute. Miko, here, stand up, honey. Is calling for some more water. Oh, you can bring it to the water station. Thank you. All right. Am I the only one in the class today?
Well, I have someone in my office, Grace,
Okay.
and we have several more that'll be joining us. You want to say hi?
What really good? Hi,
Hello. Hi. Hi, Grace.
I'm Grace.
Hello.
What's your name? Little girl. Hey, both of you. Hi.
Hi.
Hi. What's your name?
Oh,
You're so tall.
I'm Keith.
Keith. Hi, nice to meet
hold on,
you.
Miko. Don't go, Daddy, please. Honey, my back's hurt. Remember? He's finishing up some food, and then
First.
yes, you did.
Yes.
Yes, you did. Hmm. Chihuahua. Huh? Chihuahua. Hmm?
I'm going to try Keith.
Oh, okay.
There's Keith, are you done?
So, Sean, are you a tribal member?
Cherokee, yes.
Okay. Well, welcome.
Thank you, Neil. Thank you.
We do have several others that have registered to sign up, but we're going to do we have a PowerPoint and we have a quiz. You should have, when you signed up, did you receive the connection for the quiz?
10-4. Yes.
Bueno. Okay.
Mhm.
We're going to make sure we have the video set up. So let me check this.
I'm operating from a mobile phone, so I can switch back and forth, I guess, between this Zoom and the PDF file.
Okay. Okay, here it is. I'm gonna go off for a minute and get the video set up.
Okie dokie. Oh, did I close the PDF? Oh, I see. Wait, was the video on? Hmm.
Not yet. I'm bringing it up now.
Oh, I meant our video camera. I guess so, because y'all were saying appeared that you could see us. Hmm. Okay.
Yes, we could see you.
Oh.
No. Just let me take this one. I don't open it.
Well, first let's set it here. There's two
No.
levers. Oh, you do know?
No, I don't.
Oh, do you want me to tell you?
I want you to open it for me.
How about how about we wait till Keith's finished eating, or I'll tell you how. There's two buttons and you pull them both forward.
Well,
Yes, just like that. Oh, my foot. Joe. Hey.
hi.
Hello.
I think Keith knows more about it.
Could you teach me?
There's a
You're done.
her brother. Miko's asking for some help.
Stop turn on game. And
Says first select an activity.
Okay.
Yep.
and push enter when
My grandmother got this for me when I was about my son's age.
Okay.
It's a pre-computer and it has word and math games, but as you learn more about how to type and use it, it also has visual basic programming capabilities.
Nice.
I didn't know what it was when I got it. I was rather ungrateful.
Okay.
But now I see how wonderful a gift it was and is.
Nice.
Oh, oh, it's pretty.
All right. Well, I got the video lined up, so let's start. Um, Welcome to Anger Management for Parents, Session 3. Anger management counselor, I could totally do that. This is my attempt at humor. You see the 6 smashed computers?
Oh,
Okay.
huh.
Group roles. Um, Usually when we're doing sessions, we have a few ground rules to make it flow. One of the rules is we use respectful language and behavior. Another one is that we have the option to pass. So if more join and if we ask a question, you have the option to pass. You don't have to answer if you don't want to. Any others? What do you think, Sean? Any others we need for group rules for this session, 90-minute session?
Well, this is a pretty good baseline for establishing some procedure and order
Mhm.
for classroom discipline. That's pretty good.
Well,
It says
thank
to
you.
review the group rules. So are these the two rules for
Well,
now?
those are the ones you always have is respectful language and behavior, and you have the option to pass. But
Oh, I
the
see.
others, are there others that you'd like with you, Grace, and I, and whoever else joins us?
Oh, I was okay. I hear the verbal rules now, and now I see check in with the group.
That's after we agree on the rule. Are there any others you'd like to see?
Oh, well, nothing comes to mind at the moment.
Okay, so let's do a check-in.
Okay.
What brought you to take the class on anger management for parents?
Are you asking me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, it was advertised by the Eastern Shawnee tribe, and I've been taking parenting classes there every 3 months or so, and they've been wonderful. So I trust their judgment. And I've also took the Motherhood, Fatherhood is Sacred through the Zoom link
Oh,
previously,
okay.
and yeah, and the Positive Indian Parenting.
Okay.
And over the course of about 2 years, I've probably taken maybe 20 or so different parenting and co-parenting courses from different modalities, different schools of thought, and added these tools to my toolbox. And anger management's been one that hasn't been covered yet. We've talked about the angry child, and of course applied that to the angry inner child as well.
Sure.
But we haven't talked about anger management as a standalone topic yet.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I've, yeah, that'd be a good opportunity.
Well, sounds good. Yeah, I've taken over the course of my life. I'm going to be 78 in August, so I'm still working full time, still doing this. I've taken three anger management courses in my 20s, 30s, and 50s. So um,
Wow.
I'm uh, I'm not an expert on it, but I've been working on all these times. My anger has usually not been toward people; it's been more toward technology, a computer, a car. Remember the old answering machines that we used to have?
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
I
computer
went through like
is even bigger.
Okay.
I went through like four answering machines in a year and a half until I decided, okay, I need some help. So, uh,
不要你们去玩儿，不要缴费，去玩儿吧，去玩儿吧，听到没有？不是听到没有啊？
Are you done, Keith? What's your food?
吃饱了吗？
Come on, let's go play the computer.
好啦，关灯啊，关灯。谢谢。
that
Uh,
sounds more like Chinese than Cherokee.
oh, yes, it is.
You speak Chinese? Mandarin?
Mandarin. Some. My, yes.
Oh, that's cool.
We have a bilingual home. Trying to incorporate Spanish as well. We've
Hi,
learned
Chihuahua.
a little bit Cherokee, the Western dialect, anyway.
Okay. Well, anyway, um, Grace had to leave for a minute, so that's our check-in for now. So let's get into the class. We're gonna, when we look at anger as an emotion and then anger management, one of the things we need to do is to look at defense mechanisms. We all develop defense mechanisms as part of our coping skills that when we're young. And as we mature, we can develop some more sophisticated defense mechanisms on how we're responding to stressful situations. Hello,
Hello.
is it Katina?
Yes, I'm just seeing this link. Here I'm trying to find myself. Okay. There we go. Defense. We will now begin to examine the defense mechanisms that we all response to perceived threats.
We've
Can you see? I can see you. Okay.
we've just started. This is our this
I
third slide.
apologize.
Where are you joining
I'm
us
in
from?
Arizona.
Part.
Surprise.
Oh, surprise. Okay. Well, welcome.
Thank
How did
you.
you hear about us?
What my link, grandparents link.
Oh, okay.
So I was just, yeah, it's the first time I ever went into one of these Zooms for any of the organizations. So I was just curious
Okay.
what's going on.
Well, I'm Neil Tift. I coordinate the Parent Resource Center at the Native American Fatherhood and Families Association. Our office is in Mesa.
Oh,
So
okay.
I'll offer a variety of services and programs, primarily for Native parents and grandparents, but the content, like today, egg management, this is across all cultures. So it's take the information that fits for you and apply it in the way that you want to.
Yes, sir.
So welcome.
Thank you.
All right. Well,
I stole you take it. I was
do we,
expressed.
do we want to
You're not
hear
telling
some of the background if we
One
can?
minute. 1 minute. Uh,
Okay. All right. That's less distractions. Okay. The defense mechanisms are learned. We develop these as unconscious coping strategies that help us reduce anxiety when we receive a threat or high stress from an unacceptable or unpleasant impulse. You will, when this session is finished, I will email you each these slides if you want me to. If you just the last slide has my email address, I'll just send it to you. Um, but so we're going to be talking about defense mechanisms because this is session 3. Um, this is one I suggest you do for homework. Montana Warbrick has put together their clips from movies about what are our defense mechanisms, but we're going to go into detail more on what they specifically are now. Um, for example, one defense mechanism that we can jump into when we're feeling stress is to avoidance. We change the subject when someone confronts us or we don't respond to them. So if we're having a discussion with a coworker or a family member, typically this is one we do when the other person is not an authority figure. Because if it's our boss, often our boss won't let us avoid. But one of the things we can do if we're having a stressful situation is just change the subject, or just walk away. A second defense mechanism when we're feeling that stress is blaming. We say it's someone else's fault for these mistakes or these actions. I'd like you to think of a stressful situation, each of you, in the past week. What's a situation where you felt angry and think of how you responded to it? This can be to a person, a place, a situation, a thing, traffic, whatever.
Will you call us in some type of order, or should we just
Just jump in.
jump in? Okay, since I started talking, I'll continue. Recently, I was feeling angry about a situation. Um, let's see. Oh, I know. My father's very sick, and I wanted. We were working on a week on week off schedule for timeshare, and I wasn't. We An authority figure decided that that's too simple, and they wanted to make it very complicated and keep me kind of well, it prevented me from being able to help my dad in the way that he had asked me to help him, and I felt kind of in a like helpless, and I didn't like that too much. And then
Okay.
they then recently too, I was asked to sign consent, whether to consent or deny a field trip for my son to go see a movie that I felt was inappropriate. So I denied consent, and because I wouldn't be there to guide him according to the rating system, and I haven't seen the movie yet. However, someone else came in and decided that they were going to override. You look for Miko? override, well, um, my wishes there, which I believe to be my 14th Amendment rights and First Amendment rights, and my duty and privilege to guide my children in their moral development. And again, I felt like I just kind of frustrated about it. And then got in a call from my counselor who told me that people are again from the same place falsely accusing me, saying that they don't want me around and all this and that, even though it's a public place and I'm not doing anything wrong. And it, it costs me a lot of money, and it's emotionally and psychologically taxing. And then they transmit this falsehoods to the court, and then I don't like it, and I found it to be harassing, and I want it to stop, but I don't know what to do. So it's like I feel like I don't know what to do, and I felt angry about it. Yeah. I talked to my mom and dad and brother and griped a little bit. You know. Yeah,
Do,
I'll
do,
stop there.
do you feel okay? Um, Tina,
I'm here.
we're talking about a stressful situation where you had to one of
Yeah, I
the
was
defense
listening to
mechanisms.
you. Um, right now I just can't pull one out of my hat. I just
All right,
when I have them, I seem to be able to cope with them right now.
good.
I
Well,
don't know, it's a lot of things coming and I've been tested, so I could just say whatever faith I'm in, it's been guiding me pretty strong, and I've been more quiet than voiceful.
okay. Mine, as I mentioned, mine tend to be more toward situations of driving. Um, Mesa, Arizona's got to be a very the driving the role there every major thoroughfare in Mesa has construction,
Hmm.
and you drive around and they have the orange cones and they have the barriers up and nobody's doing any work.
Oh Lord.
I find that extremely frustrating. I wouldn't mind it if I'd see somebody out there with a jackhammer or with a front end loader, but we have all these streets and it narrows from 3 lanes down to 1 lane, and you got somebody that won't turn left on a green light. And so, make a long story short, I've been trying to find other routes because I get very frustrated, especially in rush hour when people just sit there. And the coping mechanism that I've developed, my wife helped me with it because a few years ago I was somewhere and I was getting ready to honk the car in front of me. They were sitting at a
Hmm.
green arrow with nobody coming and they weren't going. So I figured they were on their phone or something. My wife, who's very wise, said, "Picture that's your mom." And I went, "Ah, okay."
Hmm.
So
Right.
she said,
Good one.
would you honk at your mom?" And going, "No,
Nope.
nope,
Nope.
nope." So I'm developing these responses, these coping skills, and the defense mechanisms tend to be when someone's coming after us, but also situations when we're just really angry. So we're going to be looking at several more of these. The third one is compartmentalization.
Hmm.
We separate part of ourselves from another part to allow us to operate with separate values. This allows us to maintain conflicting concerns. So the situation that you were talking about, Sean, with your family members, um, that could be a way, because compartmentalization is more of a response. Male brains are are wired differently than female brains. When a female fetus is in her mom's womb, she's awash in estrogen. A little guy in his mom's womb, the fetus is awash in testosterone. And so when the estrogen doesn't just affect the female's genitalia development, but also our brain development, it also happens with males. And one of the things that guys do is we'll have our work part of our brain, our hobby part of our brain, our relationship part of our dad relationship part of our brain, our partner. And so we tend to look go only one place, one compartment at a time. Women's brains, they're wired differently between the left and right hemisphere. The big cord that connects the two hemispheres is much larger in females than males. So women can tend to do multitask and guys not so much. So when we compartmentalize, that's just more natural for guys. Um, I'm gonna go into this work part of my brain, and then if we have to do something with one of our kids, we need to turn away from that and do one thing at a time. But it is a defense mechanism to help us cope with some stress. Another defense mechanism is called compliance. We act like we agree when we really do not. So we do it to keep things calm. We do it to avoid conflict. We might do it to keep calm in the workplace, or if with our kids or grandkids in a restaurant or a grocery store, we just go along with it because we don't want to have a big episode in public. Another one that we see is defiance. So we rebel against the truth or the responsibility. So it's different from blaming. It's just saying, I won't do it. I won't accept responsibility at all. That can be another defense mechanism through defiance. You'll notice these are all alphabetized. Denial. We refuse to accept the reality, acting as if a painful event or thought or feeling, it just didn't exist. It's not that it's not important. That's minimization. It's like it never happened at all. Another defense mechanism when we're upset is we express anger through displacement. We express anger towards someone else because it's too threatened to express anger to the original person. So if we have something that we need to do, say with our supervisor at work, and we're really upset with her or him, we displace it towards someone else, someone who maybe is on the same level with us or that we supervise. So we take that anger, but we don't focus on where it needs to go. And there are reasons that people will do that. But a lot of times it's to keep the peace.
Sure.
Another one is escape. We run away from the truth. If we are angry about something, and this is another one. I've worked with, in the 80s, I worked with men who battered their female partners. So I was a men's therapist in the 80s. And then starting in 1990, I started a Father's Resource Center in Minneapolis. So I've been working with fathers in fatherhood programs like NAFA, Native American Father and Families Association, for the past 35 years. And I do see that a lot of times if there's a male-female couple having an argument, sometimes guys will just walk away. It can be a survival instinct. I don't want to hurt her feelings. I don't want to hurt her. I'm just going to walk away and calm down. If the escape is to calm down, that's a healthy defense mechanism. If it's just because you don't want to deal with it, that can be bad for the relationship, no matter who it is, with our children, with our partner, with our neighbor, coworker, whoever. An additional defense mechanism is isolation. It's different from escaping, because escaping is we don't want to deal with it at all. Isolation is removed from the contact on a temporary basis. So the idea for these is looking at when we are stressed, what are those responses that we tend to fall into? Because again, we often tend to go into patterns. If it's with our children, it might be different than if it's with our partner. And that might be different than if it's with our boss or a coworker. And as long as they're working, because defense mechanisms can be healthy, as long as the situation, the problem is eventually resolved. So on a temporary basis, a lot of these are on a temporary basis. Another one is we go into our head, intellectualization. We stay in our head and we don't really think about our emotions. That if I were to really want to go to my heart, I'd probably come up with a different way to deal with this situation. So we just stay in our head. Um, when we are trying to figure out what our response is going to be for someone we truly care about, for example, if it's our partner, our spouse, our kids, our grandkids, um, if we don't want to go to the feeling part, that can be associated with the isolation that we're choosing not to do that. This one, the one here, next one, lying, that's typically a response of children. They just deny the truth to others, but we know what the truth is ourselves. So a lot of times we hear kids who will just say, I didn't do that. It's not my fault. We know they're they know the truth, but if they're afraid of the consequences of the punishment, there's a difference as parents between discipline and punishment. Discipline comes from the word disciple, which means to teach. So discipline can have a lot of positive options. Punishment tends to be more punitive. Um, I've worked with a lot of fathers over the past 40 some years, and the fathers who are military veterans. I haven't worked with many moms who are military veterans, but more that are. I'm not a veteran myself. I really respect the fact that they served their country. But sometimes military dads, when they talk about discipline, discipline to a military mind is do as I say when I say. And that doesn't tend to work very well with a 3-year-old. Um, they just they can't handle it that way. They're not developmentally ready. So when I talk about discipline with parents, I often will use the term setting limits instead of discipline. Because when we set limits with our children or our grandchildren, that can give us more options than the word discipline. Setting limits can mean natural and logical consequences. It can mean iMessages. It can mean redirecting. And redirecting is one tool where the children are doing one thing and we redirect them to something else. That's one of the few I think that I found effective for all ages. Okay, I've been blathering on for a while. I want one of you two to, does any of this make sense in your world? What do you think of this information so far? Let's start with Katina.
I'm here. I was let my maintenance man go. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
I'm part of you though.
Okay. So any of what we've said so far, any of this makes sense? Any of this something you can use?
Somewhat to a certain extent, yeah. Because it goes into other relationships, yeah, the relationships, different relationship parts. I'm in here with the kids as I'm walking in maintenance man out, so I'm not speaking too much. But yes, I'm listening. I heard about how he was feeling, how you described some things. So yeah, I'm in here for a while. I'm gonna be listening.
Okay, thank you. What do you think?
Mm-hmm.
Sean, what do you think?
I'm sorry, what is the question exactly?
Any of the information that I've presented so far, does any of it work in your world? What do you think of the content?
The content is informative. I think it's let's see, on point. Yeah.
Okay.
I've seen and experienced and probably resorted to these various defense mechanisms at one point or another, and probably will in the future. Um, I imagine there's probably others as well.
Mhm.
Intellectualizing is, as you said, it's associated with isolation, and that seems to be one of my go-tos.
Okay.
Um, especially when well, for in the example that I'm in the last couple years, I'm not allowed to be emotional um, in certain settings. I'm I, I, I'm not allowed to be emotional in the way that I communicate with courts and with and if I I've experienced some of this displacement you talked about from my own counselor who would be frustrated with the various judicial officials and then shouting and cursing at me because there's nothing he can do. It's like I've I don't really like that, but I kind of try to empathize.
I have a question for you, Sean. Who's telling you you can't express certain emotions?
Well, my dad and my attorney, I think they're like it's not advised. I'm not allowed to talk to my wife about our relationship, I was told.
Oh, are you separated?
Uh, yeah, I guess.
Okay.
Uh, yeah. So it's been kind of difficult. Yeah.
Oh, all right.
But
Well,
I'll talk about them with my counselor, with my therapist, my family members. I'll talk. There's certain places where I can and
good.
where I'm told it's not practical or advisable to discuss emotional matters.
Gotcha.
Compartmentalized,
Yep.
maybe, if you will. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's move on to a couple others. Another defense mechanism is minimizing. We're saying something, well, it's really not that important. I can't see my kids. Well, it's not that important when it really is. So depends. That can be another defense mechanism. Another one is rationalizing. We make invalid excuses or give reasons for our actions that we're trying to make sense, but deep down they don't. So when we 5 ways to handle anger. This is an author that I really respect. His name is Dr. Christian Conte, Conte. He went to prison when he was relatively young. He, while he was in prison, he got his GED. When he got out, he got his master's, and then he got his doctorate, and he specializes in working with people with anger issues, especially gang members and violence and anger issues. And according to Dr. Christian Conte, these are 5 choices that we can make when anger arises. One is we suppress the anger. When we're upset, when we're feeling really distressed about a situation, the anger is internalized. We put on a good front and we try to put on that mask. It is true that when men go to court, a lot of times we have to wear the mask if we're dealing with anger issues. Women can do it too, but we tend to, for every woman long-term incarceration in the United States, a sentence of 10 years or more, there are 17 men who are incarcerated. That's a huge gender disparity. One for every one woman, there are 17 men. The primary reason is the lack of emotional regulation. We don't control emotions such as rage and anger, we get locked up. And so one of the ways that a lot of males are taught, if boys are taught that big boys don't cry and big boys aren't afraid, 2 of the 4 primary emotions, you can't show sadness and you can't show fear. A lot of times males will then resort to anger, especially in our role as a father. So if we can't be with our kids or we're afraid we won't have custody to tuck them in, or if we're sad because we can't have more time with them, or the mother of the child if we can't spend more time with her. And the male masks his two primary emotions of fear and sadness. He puts the mask on, and often that comes out as the secondary response, which is anger. So, to avoid being seen as angry or unfriendly, because our anger scares us, or we're told that expressing anger is bad. So, one thing that we do, boys, girls, men, women, whoever, one option is to suppress it. Just internalize it, hold it down, don't show it at all. A second one, which is worse, in my opinion, is open aggression. It's anger is externalized. We meet our personal needs so strong that we're insensitive to the needs of others. This can include criticism, intimidation, rage, explosiveness. It can also include violence and violent activity. So the open aggression is having the anger, but not expressing it in a safe way, in a way that's respectful of others and where other people feel safe. A third of the 5 responses to anger is passive aggression. We appear outwardly agreeable, but we express our anger in veiled or indirect manners. This can be seen like pouting, being evasive, using sarcasm, doing a silent treatment if we have a disagreement with our spouse or partner. We just don't talk to them for a long time. Or obstinate. We refuse to respond, or even worse can be to sabotage the situation. We do something to undermine that other person. So the passive aggressive is one that we do see in adolescents if they don't do the open aggression. Often one way is the passive aggressive to appear we're okay, but we're not really, and we're doing something to undermine the situation in an indirect way. The fourth one is assertive anger. We manage our anger safely and appropriately, and we clearly and firmly communicate our needs while respecting the rights and needs of others. This is the safest and most respectful way. We ask for what we want. We ask for the behavior of the other person for what we want to see them express. And we talk about it openly. And the fifth one is dropping our anger. We just accept the inability to control the circumstances, and we recognize that our own limitations might not be able to handle it. So expressions include we're tolerant of others' differences, and we're willing to forgive. We're able to let go. So the fourth one, assertive anger, and the fifth one, dropping anger, are the two safest and most people would consider the most appropriate ways. Of these 5, suppressing anger, open aggression, passive aggressive, assertive, or dropping, what would you say is a typical response you have when you get angry? Grace, you want to say? Grace is in the same room with me.
Um, I would say it will be open and dropping. It will depend on the situation.
Okay, 4 and 5.
Yeah, 2 and 4.
I'm sorry,
5.
2 and 5.
Yeah.
Oh,
Could happen.
open.
To be
Oh, I get
open.
it.
Yeah.
Open aggression. Okay. Or 5, dropping.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mostly fun, but still, I'm honest.
Okay. Anybody else?
Sure. I think it probably is more like a um what's the word? Well, probably starts with 1 and then quickly moves to 4 and 5 as I work through different coping mechanisms like talking to family members or my therapist. praying, getting some rest, eating, exercising, playing music, things like that.
Okay.
Um, I will, I've learned that I have to be assertive in order to, well, otherwise I get, trampled and walked all over. And
Okay.
so I've had to sometimes be assertive, although I try to, always remain respectful in that assertiveness and not be, violent or inappropriate in anger. But anger has a place, I suppose. We have it for some reason.
Yep.
And, so yeah, I try to assert myself and my rights to protect my children and my family. And then once I've done what I can, I've got to let it go. I mean, otherwise it's just, spinning my wheels or whatever and getting nowhere.
Okay. How about for you, Katina? Which of these five would you say is um, the path you take? Katina?
Didn't hear Sean when he was just on right now.
Okay. Which of these five would you say is your typical response when you get angry? The suppressing it, open aggression, passive aggressive.
Okay, because I'm a single mother and I've been through a lot. That's why I had to type in there what I understood what Sean was saying about the DAs and stuff, because I was going through court
Okay.
for a minute there. So I kind of understood that. So my thing is I isolate myself, I suppress all my emotions pretty much, and then I try to proceed with caution as I come unleash them to the world, if
Okay.
that makes sense to you. Because
Sure.
I'm not going to sit there and just take it because I am just this one woman show with these 5 children I have and 4 grandchildren.
Okay.
So I try to come with cautious. My last name is Battle. Y'all don't see that on there, but yeah, I pick and
Yeah.
choose my battles wisely.
I, I did
And some
notice.
shit just don't need to be addressed. That's how I feel.
I did notice when that was your last name, and I thought that's interesting for someone taking an anger management class whose name is Beth.
Yeah, I like to do this kind of stuff because I feel I was born angry and I had to learn to channel it because I grew up in the 80s where mom was, on dope and it was pimping and hoeing going on. You either chose up or you get out there and try to make it work. And I tried to make it work because my grandmother showed me too much good stuff.
Okay.
So, with that being said, I was well balanced out. I stayed away from evil and just went through the shadow of death and just came through. I had my baby at 14, so I was very protective of me and my child,
Wow.
if
Okay.
that makes sense to you. So I've come a long ways and I'm 50 and some change now. Feel me? So
Yes.
this is working for me. I'm just fiddling around with my children as well. And I'm reading and I'm hearing Sean and I'm hearing you. So please don't think I'm not paying attention because I don't hit this mic fast enough.
No, no, no. That's fine. Whatever works for you. That's
Okay.
yeah.
But yes, and I'm gonna try to follow your group a little bit. If I keep getting the links, I wish because I believe you are benefiting me. And when I find time to just sit down and actually get involved in one, because I got this link so late and I already had things planned,
Okay.
I would like to stay involved in knowing what you have to offer. And I want to write down these things that we had. I didn't have time to take no notes on anything, and I'm just learning to use Zoom, if that
Sure.
makes sense too.
No, it does. Well, like I
Okay.
said, I will be glad to send you all the slides afterwards so we can.
I appreciate that. And I heard you say that earlier. I just couldn't figure out how to tell you that at first.
That's okay.
But thank you, Fran.
Sure. So the handling anger exercise, think of a situation you've encountered when you've chosen one of the five anger options and describe the situation. Well, we just briefly talked about that, but I would
Mhm.
offer that as a homework assignment that over the next week or so, think of
Okay.
a time or a situation where you'd be most comfortable suppressing your anger. So we mask it.
Right now, to be honest, I'm gonna tell you off top because I do have a TBI too. So I'm gonna say why you have it in. Mine's right off top is with Sean. I go to court for my twins and I feel I'm being ignored. They don't want to talk about what's really going on. My children want to tell the courts that they never lived with their father type shit, and they're ignoring everything that's going on with us.
Okay.
He ran with my kids for 7 years, but he didn't have them. He gave them to someone else.
And
So
this
I'm
is,
fighting this in court, and I only had my kids since January.
well, congratulations, you finally got him.
Thank
But
you.
this is in Surprise, Arizona?
This happened in California, but I'm
Oh,
living in Surprise.
okay. All right.
Yes.
Well, good for you for your
Thank
diligence and
you.
hanging in there and going after
That's why
it.
I said your class would mean a lot to me. And I heard how Sean came off with the course. I said, yeah, this is fitting for me because the way he spoke, it worked for me too. So thank you, Mr. Gray. Yeah. Because you made me open up to this is something that I need to listen to. And it's just not me going through this with courts and have to hide my face. And you talk so much and you, yeah, but anyway, go ahead. I'm not going to over talk it, but
Oh, no,
yeah.
no, no, that's fine. Um,
It's
I'm,
so much I've been through. I've paid child support for kids I had never was seeing just to keep the case open. And I send the police to do their school checkings, and they would just say there's nothing they could do because we have old court papers in advance. And it was just so hard.
sure.
But God gave me my babies, and I feel like that was just, it's just our time to grow now.
Oh,
So this is why, too, I want to learn to suppress because when I first got them, I showed them so much emotion.
okay. Okay, good, good. Well, yeah, and obviously very healthy to be able to express our emotions openly.
Yeah.
So suppressing can be a coping, but not necessarily healthy because if we have to mask,
Not healthy, yes, because eventually it's gonna pop like a bubble.
that's
And
right, it'll come out sideways.
yes,
Yeah, the open aggression, we're letting it out, but it also can be dangerous and
scary for others.
yes, and they feel unsafe, and then there can be
Yes,
consequences for us.
and that's what I don't want from each one of these children that I have. I don't want them to never get in an unsafe space when I'm trying to have it safe, but it comes out too much for them because they're not ready or
Katina, can I ask you the age range of the children you're raising?
So right now I have my 12-year-old grandson and I have my 15-year-old twins, and my son is 20, their oldest brother. So it's just us in the house. But I
Just,
have other
okay.
two children. I also have a daughter that's incarcerated. So that's the 12-year-old's mother. She's incarcerated. So when you start speaking about incarceration, I wanted to
Yep, of
elaborate a little bit more sometimes on that because I
course.
walked that road too with this child that's incarcerated. And then I'm going to be trying to get her and her son to know each other in the long run, and at least bond and have, cordialness with them because he's never been raised by her.
Sure, sure. In the 80s, a long time
Mhm.
ago, I was a single father. My first wife, we'd been married 6 years and we had two kids, and she came home one day and said she met somebody else. And I looked at her funny and said, wait a
Are
minute,
you
when
serious?
you're married, you're not supposed to meet somebody else. So anyway, she gave me both kids after a short battle. And so I was a single dad for 9 years with my two. And
Okay.
there were times in the system, because I never went after child support. I was afraid if I went after child support, they give the kids to her because in Minnesota in those days, that's what they did.
Okay.
But yeah, I remember the battle of being, I'm sorry, battle, yes, your name, but the struggle of being a single dad, and how when I was angry and I was angrier then, how I had to find ways to express my anger so my kids always felt safe around me.
Right.
And
That's what
that's
I'm learning.
clearly important. Well, good for you. So,
That's what I'm really trying to learn. I haven't met, but because there's been so much, in between, but I know God got us. And at the end of the day, I
yeah,
just put my good forward always as I do express, if that makes a little bit better sense. At least I try.
sure. No,
I show more actions than I do try to run my mouth. And if I'm running my mouth, I hope I'm running it on something that benefits them, just not wasting our time because
I
our
like that.
playtime is over. They got to grow up to be adults. They got 3 years to it, because
That's
Trump
right.
done changed a lot. Ain't no babysittings no more with the kids at home.
Oh, yeah, the politics is pretty scary now. I
Oh, see,
totally
that was
agree.
something totally different. You know what I mean? And I
Yep.
look at that, like I said, I'm that one woman show, so I got to be all the way around the boards with it. And I'm looking at politics, and I'm looking at these kids that are coming and what they didn't get from growing up. And
Yep.
it's all a fairy tale how we were taught to grow up, but it was more comfortable.
Well, when you weave in COVID, which isolated a lot of kids from schools and stuff. And,
Yes.
and then you look at the brain development of kids who use video games, too much screen time. That can
Yes.
actually affect brain development too. Okay, good points. All right, here's some anger management principles that we've put together. Anger is often based upon how I see myself. I do not need to prove myself in this situation. This is what we can tell ourselves. Self-talk is very important when we're dealing with anger. What are we telling ourselves in our self-talk? I do not need to prove myself in this situation. Do I feel threatened by someone? And can I stay calm? There was a um, neighbor who was threatening my wife. He had some mental health issues, and my wife is 6 feet tall, so I mean she can handle herself.
Okay.
But he was screaming at her and swearing at her, and Denise is a pretty mellow person. And so I went over to ask what was going on. I decided not to just swear at him immediately, but to say, "What's going on?" Because he knew that I was her husband. And oh, this is my second wife. We've been married. Next week it'll be 37 years. So I've worked
Well,
really hard.
congratulations in
I've worked,
advance.
I've worked harder on this second time around, but
Amen. Congratulations, Miss Denise.
hey, thank you. But I was also saying, I don't need to go this where I'm gonna say I'm gonna have to hit him because I didn't want to resolve it that way. But I just walked up and said, "Look, what's going on? Why are you talking to my wife that way?" And he started swearing at me, and I said, "Can you tell me why you're so angry?" Well, it turned out somebody in the neighborhood had done something to his garage, and we had nothing to do with it. And I think he knew that, but we just happened to be, or she just happened to be the first person he saw after he saw what happened to somebody. They wrote some
Right. And he
gross
lashed out
graffiti.
on her.
Yeah. So I just said, I can assure you that Denise would never write graffiti on your garage. You can see her hands, that there's no paint on it. Anyway, I was able to de-escalate it, and Denise was appreciative of it too. But it was one of those things where felt, if he's swearing and I go in swearing, it's going to escalate it. But I figured if I go in and de-escalate it, um,
Yes.
but it's
You
how.
bring some fire, it would have ignited that grill a little hotter.
Yes, and so that's how I saw myself as more of a mediator, as a peacemaker.
And he was trying to, yeah, and he's letting off steam at the wrong person. And
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So anyway, but that's one anger management principle is ask ourselves, how do I see myself in this situation? Because that self-talk is so important. The second anger management principle, I may respond with anger because I take things too personally when there's no need to do so. What other people say is their opinion, so I need to avoid perceiving the situation as directed at me individually. This is true
Mm,
when we're driving. You know,
okay.
yeah, this is one of the things I think of. It's not that
I
the
may
person
respond
is,
with anger
yeah,
because I take
yeah,
things.
but
That could be me for real. I like the way that started off because I can't even take that personal right now, but I really think that's where my anger comes from because I believe people should that really know me shouldn't do.
yes, yeah,
I take it too personal.
okay,
And it lingers with me sometimes throughout the day and it could trigger off like due to lash at something that was in my past. I don't
yeah.
know. That's a good one right here. And this one.
Thank you. What do you think, Sean?
So I need to avoid
You can,
perceiving the situation.
yeah, if you choose to, you can avoid perceiving it as directed
I
toward.
need to learn that one because then my golden years can be real good.
Good for
Shit.
you. What do you think, Sean, about this one?
Oh, yes, I'm a big advocate of de-escalation. I found it to be invaluable, life-saving. It's one of the most important tools of conflict, de-escalation. Um, yes, I've often, in the course of the last few years anyway, tried to play the role of the peacemaker as well.
Good for
And
you.
um, with certain people, that is fine and well, and I've found other people will take advantage. And then what do? Well, I try to follow the pro protocol set up in our civil society to, but that didn't work out too well.
Yeah.
So,
I'm
you
sorry,
know,
Sean, but you said the protocol. Yeah.
Yeah.
I try to laugh, de-escalate with myself too, like breathe, a lot of deep breathing.
Woosah.
Mhm.
Sometimes people I know I'm never going to see them again, then they maybe flip me off in the parking lot or
Yep.
shout at some angry thing. I could just choose to wave and like, hi, yeah,
Mhm.
hi. And,
Yeah.
sometimes or what I've found recently, a really good technique is to ask certain kinds of questions that will trigger a person's thinking mode,
Okay.
where they get out of their habitual or robotic or mode of thinking or responsive automatic thinking and go into or acting, I mean, and into thinking mode.
Hmm.
Questions like, if you can buy 12 eggs for a dozen eggs for 12 cents, how many eggs can you get for $1? Or what's 550 divided by 2,
Have you
You're classy.
what what you're talking about, another technique that I've found that actually does help with anger is we choose to respond rather than react to a situation. When we react, it's automatic. You know, when we get angry and it's just a total reaction, that's when we might clench our fists or grit our teeth or try start breathing heavy, not as an exercise, but because our body physiologically is responding to that. That's a reaction. To respond to the situation is what you were talking about. We go to our head. We can choose how we're going to respond to this situation. It's the same thing like if you go to your doctor and your doctor puts you on some medications and they don't work. The doctor will tell you, she'll say, you're reacting to your medication. That means that it's bad. They're bad side effects. If your doctor says you're responding to your medications, she means they're
That's
doing well.
perfect.
They're making you better. They're making you healthy. It's the same thing with anger. If we can choose to go to our head, and that takes some work, but we can think about it. Do I need to take this personally? Is this really my fault? And it's not denial. It's just going through a couple steps saying, what can I do to choose to do this to, as you mentioned, Sean, to de-escalate? Um, and so, yeah, I think that's why that technique of react versus respond. I mean, respond, don't react. Is
Don't react. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So we
That's
respond.
yeah, like that's why I said I can understand this one. I need to stop taking things a certain way and just let it come out and let it go where it needs to go, especially if it didn't apply to me.
Go
You know
mellow.
what I mean?
Yep. Go mellow.
Yeah.
Hmm. Cool.
Yeah, I like that.
Thank you. Third principle, anger can be a pattern that I have typically responded to in certain situations. So I need to reframe how I see and react to that range of frustrating situation. This is what I'm talking about because mine tended to be when I'm driving because I'm ADHD. So I want to get from point A to point B. I don't need to sightsee. I don't need to, I just want to get there. And what I think now is somebody's really slowing me down. And what I learned from Denise, picture that's my mom in front of me. That's how I do. I reframe it and I'm able to be calm. And so, how can each of us reframe that situation from something that's stressful to something that's not so stressful? A fourth anger management principle, learn to recognize the signs of arousal. What are our triggers? As I tune into these triggers or these signs, can I short circuit the anger process and talk to myself, back to that self talk, through the difficult situation? So, again, the self talk, but trying to do that and short circuit the anger and reframe it in a different as something different. 5, I have the option to take time out. I can walk away from the session, not when you're driving, but you know what I mean. But we can walk away from the stressful situation. This is an acceptable and safe response. If we're having a disagreement with our coworker or with our spouse or even with our kids, if they're safe, we can just say, let's take a time out. My wife and I have that we fostered children for many years. And one of the things we would do is we just give ourselves the tea. And that meant like she needed to take a time out, so I'd take over with the kids, or I'd need a time out, so she would. But we would just do the tea sign, and kids would pick that up too. And they'd realize, yeah, I want to take a time out too. I don't want to argue with either of you. So doing the
That's
time,
what's up. I like that.
yeah, just do, time. Because anytime we can change the situation for a person when we're upset and give them permission. So the thing is, everybody's saving face. It's not that we are trying to put another person down by walking away.
All right.
We're not saying you're not important. We're saying for the situation, we need to all take a time out.
And come back at it later when
Yeah,
we
when
can
we're calmer.
respect, yeah, the space of where we started. And that's a lot what I want to continue with this last set of kids that I have in the house because sometimes they feel like I just be like, shut your face. And I really do though, but I really be trying to give them a little leeway. I don't know. I feel like they take it too far sometimes. That's why.
Well,
And
sure,
yeah.
sure. I get it. Yeah. Another management principle. I need to find ways to use my anger to my advantage. I can stay focused on the task and push to find ways to solve the problem at hand. This is something with technology, or we're working on something on the house, or we're working on something on the yard. This is one that might not necessarily be for people, but it can be for situations. Um, I was trying to fix a broken window, and I thought I had the right tools, and I didn't. And then every time I tried something, it just didn't work. And so I decided to take a time out, and I came back. It was a simple thing, like just try to take this hinge off the window. And
Mm-hmm.
after taking a time out for 10 minutes, I'm a chocolate junkie, so I went and had a couple little brownies that my daughter had made earlier. And then I went back and I saw the right way to do it was holding the tool a different way. But yeah,
You had to back away from it and regroup.
yes, stay focused on the task and find another way to address it.
Okay.
7, I don't have to be strong and competent all the time. It's okay to feel unsure and confused sometimes. This will not make me less of a man or a woman. This will allow me to go back to the task. We don't have to be strong and competent all the time. This can be more difficult when we're dealing with our children because we want to be seen as competent. And young children always see adults as having, and they know a lot more than they do. With adolescents, it
Yeah,
flips.
we slow.
It
We
flips.
on a
Yeah,
slow
in
boat.
adolescence, it flips, and think they know more than we do. Yeah. So, but it's okay to be confused sometimes and just step away. Anger management principle number 8. Sometimes I get angry because I feel things are out of control. So if I decide to control myself first, I can assess what else I might be able to control through problem solving. So again, it's are we getting to the point of being out of control? Because usually when we're out of control, it's going to hurt somebody or something or make the situation worse. I'm going to go through these and ask if any of these are for you. 9th one, as I learn to break down frustrating situations into baby steps or little stages, I maybe will see how I might control some of those steps. Then I'll be on top of the situation. If we have something that's a major task, I think it's always healthy to break it into baby steps or stages. And then we fix one thing, and then we fix the next thing, and then we fix the next thing. This can be about, what projects at work, projects around the house, or dealing with more complicated issues when our kids are dealing with stressful situations. And the last one, appreciate when we have been successful in managing our anger by breaking the situation into small steps. What this saying is, once we've done the ninth step, breaking it down and doing the baby steps, congratulate yourself when you've succeeded and feel proud. So, of any of these, do you see that based on how I see myself, I take anger because I take it too personally? The pattern I've typically responded to, like in traffic or with one of our children or grandchildren. We recognize the signs of arousal. We recognize our triggers. Fifth one, we have the option to take a time out. Sixth one, we can find ways to use it to our advantage. Seventh one, it's okay not to be competent all the time. We can lighten up. Eighth, because we feel things can get out of control, we need to figure that out.
Because I'm scared somebody gonna get hurt.
Yes, yes, exactly. Yeah, so that especially the little ones. Yeah,
Yeah, they roughhouse real tough.
yeah. Sean, your two little ones, do they roughhouse?
Here at our home, sometimes, and we call it horse play or
Yeah,
roughhousing.
yeah,
Yeah.
And
yeah,
I I recognize when that's happening. We need to sometimes channel that, and whether it's doing some exercises together or
But I've
some
been starting. Let's go for a walk.
yeah,
Let's get
yeah,
on the
go
skateboards.
outside, or listen. Maybe they're in a safe place, and so I might just give them some tips, like if you're gonna be so they do have to learn about logical and natural consequences in a
yeah,
safe environment.
yeah,
I feel right now it's what one love and logic calls affordable lessons that they're experiencing. But I listen when it gets to a certain tone in one of their voices. I know when to step in and be like,
You the
all right,
referee.
yeah, referee, and help as kind of a diplomat and help them.
Yeah,
There's
because
no
I got
problem.
the 15-year-old and the 12-year-old nephew and uncle type thing going on, and they just now meeting each other. So you guys should see how. But when they're so loving, it's so loving. But when they want to be competition or something, it's just off the hook,
sure,
and I have to go, hey.
sure, cool.
They listen
Well,
pretty well. I might like hey, my dad. He would woo. He could whistle. We could hear it
Oh, my
across.
mom could too. She put the two fingers in there and go, ree, ree.
but good for you guys. I like this interaction. You should have received the quiz. Did you get the quiz with the link?
Let me
Anger,
go out and try to find out. I hope I don't make
anger
me lose
quiz?
y'all.
Yeah, no, that's okay.
Okay,
Um,
hold on. Link with a quiz. Let me see.
Below is the quiz.
Activate your. Nope, this is not us. Let me see all boxes. News break. That's news break. That's Uber. I didn't get one yet. Hold
I
on.
I got
Primary.
an email about the quiz, but it just has a PDF about the styles of anger assessment. Is that the
that's it.
quiz?
Yes, that's it.
Oh,
Shit, hold on. I don't think I even got that yet. Hold on. Let me find out what's going
Yeah,
on.
let us know.
Yeah. Let me see. That's not it. Let me go to the spam and see if they spammed it.
Okay.
hmm.
Let me go see if they spammed it. Because my thing, remember I told you mine's came from the grandmother's thing.
Okay, here, let me do this, Katina.
Get my email.
Yeah, give it to me now and we can forward it to you.
Thank you. msphonixkb@gmail.com. Miss Phoenix. KB.
Miss
Because
Phoenix,
that's where I was thinking.
KB,
My, huh?
KB,
Yes,
like in
KB.
battle,
My initials, yes.
right, at gmail.com. Can you find
Yes.
what I sent you?
Because all I have is your Zoom link.
I like that, Miss Phoenix.
Thank you.
Okay, Grace just sent this to you.
Thank you, Miss Grace. Appreciate it. Going to look again. Yeah. So I can be up on the next time too. Got it. Grace Beauty. Yep, I got it for the quiz class.
You want to take a few minutes and answer five, as it says on the sheet, five is very often and zero is never for the 32 questions.
Okay, let me get to the self. I opened up. See if I know how to use this. So, all right. So how do I? Because I've never. Oh, there go the pencil. Found it. Found the pencil documents. Now to see. All right. So now, when I'm
So,
angry, it's easier if I stay away from heated dispute. Uh-oh, wait a minute. We writing already, and I can't even move stuff over.
I'll think about for when I'm angry.
I
Very often.
found it.
So,
What's the number? What number one say? Because I don't get to see occasion. What's number one supposed to be?
The question or the answers?
The answers. I can't see number one on my thing.
Okay, five is very often.
Yes. Four
Four
is
is
often. Three is
you'll
sometimes. Two is occasion.
one is sometimes,
Okay, that's the word I need to know. Okay.
and zero is never.
Oh, you got a zero on there too.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So when I'm what? Because mine won't turn sideways or anything for me to be able to see the last two. All right. When I'm angry, it's easier if I stay away from heated disputes.
on that on on that question, it's not asking about frequency. It's more of like a
Yeah.
statement. So should we maybe think about it as very? I don't know. Oh,
Shit,
is
because
that
that would be my best thing to stay away from it, but that's not how it goes.
Yeah, I would just say the way this is written as for an assessment is from five very often to zero is never. I mean, you're going to be able to score it after you answer it.
I never stay away from a heated. I don't understand. When I'm angry, it's easier if I stay away from heated disputes.
If you don't understand it, you can just skip that one and move on.
Yeah, I
okay?
do. I say. Let me put.
In a, I don't know. I do and say things to try and get control of people or situations when I am angry. Hmm. To get control of people or situations when I
Yeah.
am. Uh, maybe so. When I'm angry, I try to use my frustration constructively. Yes, that sometimes that gets me right up, and I just start.
Yeah, I don't think so. I want to sit down. Got my tear ups and I was playing.
I gotta get this yard mowed. Now I'm feeling it.
That part. In a
In a,
tense disagreement, I find it safer to communicate my needs indirectly. Oh shit.
in a tense disagreement. Hmm.
That's probably why I could never answer nothing because this don't feel like this fits for me. In a tense disagreement, I find it's safer
All
to
right.
communicate my need.
I
We're
will,
lost.
I'll tell you what, I've got a much better one. I will send that to you after this, and you can just fill that out after our session today.
Cause this ain't working for, yeah, this is, mm-mm.
Okay, no, I get it. I get it. We'll move on from this,
Oh,
and
I'm working on it.
I'll send you a
You're
better
better
one.
than me.
I'm just
I'm,
trying.
I'm erasing stuff.
I will send you a better one after our
Okay.
session today.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
you got, I don't know what to call it, Sean, but you got me. I'm a slow ski. And this is, yeah, not for me.
Okay. No, I appreciate the feedback. We're very flexible
I'm
here.
upset. It's best to sit down. My anger will pass.
More like a
Hell no, my anger
psychological
never.
question.
It increases my chance of success. Hell no, I can't manipulate nothing. I got to be direct because, I ain't looking for that guy. See, yeah. All right. I didn't save the copy. I got out of it. I discard mine.
Okay. We're gonna do is we're gonna read some quotes, and then I'm gonna show a short video after this, but let's look at these.
All right. Wait, I'm coming
Conclusion.
back. I'm learning to use my phone. Hold on.
Good for
Eric,
you.
I'm gonna gotta find you.
This is one of my favorite quotes. Angry people want you to see how powerful they are. Loving people want you to see how powerful you are. You want to apply this to the current administration? Yep.
Video effects running in the background. Where am we at? Where's my Zoom? This is Zoom right here. Boom. Found you.
Okay.
I'm back.
Angry people want you to see how powerful they are. Loving
Mhm.
people want you to see how powerful you are. Chief Reddy. Anger is one letter short of danger. Eleanor Roosevelt.
Hey.
That's me. Take the email down, and I'm going to find an video for you now. Okay.
Okay.
If you email me at neilT@aznaffa.org, I'll send you the slide.
All right. If I email you, hold on. Let me go find how to email you. Boop, boop, boop. So I can go where Grady sent me that, Grace sent me that, and
Yep. Yeah, you can do that too.
I can reply to that.
Yep.
Okay.
You got it, Sean?
What's that? I'm sorry.
The email address.
The email address, yes. Do you want me to send this?
If you email me at neilT@aznaffa.org, I will email you the slides.
Oh, the slides. Okay, very good.
Now,
And I hope I know what I'm doing.
that's all right.
Because
Now let
I know
me,
I'm sending you, I'm hoping I know what I'm doing, but because I'm not computer savvy, but I'm working. I'm trying. I hope you got it.
yes. Okay, we're gonna find something. Okay. Gonna find wait, I just I want to find this video I want to show you. Okay. Anti-anger. This one? Yeah, that's the 11 minute I wanted to wait. Yeah, here it is, this one. Okay, now
This is the morning
wait, gonna run the ad. Go ahead, run the ad.
I got set recipe that took me from 198 to 147 in just weeks. It's natural, simple.
Skip. Okay, now what I want to do is I want to show. Okay, now we're gonna show a brief video by the guy I mentioned, Dr. Christian Conti.
Huh.
Okay, can you see? You see that?
No.
I just see you.
Okay,
I
we're
see
gonna.
anger management principles on the screen. I'm buffing.
Okay.
Oh,
There
there
we
we go. I
Okay.
seen.
Okay, here we go.
Can you hear?
My name is Dr. Christian Conti,
Can they hear?
and I help people
Can you hear
with
him?
lots of things.
Yes.
Yeah.
But one emotion that I find people have a particularly difficult time dealing with is anger. Think about it. Have you ever found yourself
Mine stopped.
Yeah, I stopped here too.
Okay.
angry and not really knowing why you were so angry?
The video mine.
Have you ever found
Okay.
yourself snapping at loved ones quickly and not really sure where all that anger was coming from? If you have, then two things. One, you're not alone. And two, this video can be very helpful for you. Human beings have consciousness, and consciousness is a fancy way of saying awareness. And there are levels of awareness. There are levels of consciousness that we have. The lowest level of consciousness that we have is something called shame. And I believe that one of the reasons why shame is the lowest levels of consciousness is this. When people live in shame, they act out of shame. I specialize in working with people who commit violent crimes, and one of the things that I found is this. When people have said to themselves or believed that they were a no good piece of nothing, then there's not much to stop them from continuing to hurt others. Why not? After all, they have nothing to lose. When people live in shame, they act out of shame. And that's the lowest form of consciousness that we have. Not far above shame is something called depression. And one of the reasons depression is so low on the scale of consciousness is this. When we are struggling with depression, we are primarily focused on the past. In other words, we are primarily focused on a time period that we cannot get back. We're focused on things that we simply just cannot change. Not far above depression is, on the scale of consciousness, is something called anxiety. Anxiety is that awful feeling in your sick feeling in your stomach and the racing thoughts.
Oh.
The people who struggle with anxiety primarily live in the future. In other words, they are more focused on things that might happen, things that haven't happened yet. So shame, depression, anxiety are the lowest levels of consciousness that we have. Now watch this, because it's very interesting. Above shame, above depression, and above anxiety is something called anger. And here's why this is interesting. Because what this means is this. We would rather be angry than struggling with anxiety, depression, or shame. It's almost as if it's easier to lash out than to have to struggle and wallow in the places that anxiety, depression, and shame take us. So unconsciously, we lash out at our loved ones. We're not even sure why. Well, maybe it's because we're struggling with anxiety and we don't want to be dealing with that anxiety anymore. So as we lash out, we experience a release. And for a moment, that feels better. Now, here's the good news. By no means are these the epitome of the levels of consciousness. There are more. Above anger are lots of different levels. I'll sum up all the different levels, though, with one word. And I'll sum it up with love. And partly I'm going to sum it up with one word because I can only stack blocks up so high on my desk. But within love, within this category of love, of consciousness, are things like compassion, knowledge, creativity, peace. And here's what this means. If we can have compassion, if we can have some knowledge, then the next time that we are dealing with, let's say, anxiety, instead of lashing out at someone else to experience that release, what we can do is this. We can go up to that person and say, I'm really sorry, but I'm struggling with anxiety right now, and I can feel myself snapping out at you, but it has nothing to do with you in your conversation. Imagine the different level of consciousness that could take not only you, but also your loved one to, or in that relationship. If you like this idea and you like some of these teachings, please take some time to visit my website at drchristianconti.com.
What'd you think?
Yeah.
Pretty cool though. Anxiety, yeah, anxiety, depression. It all, I put it in the order and the word came up to be sad.
Yeah, yeah. Depression,
So you got to get out of that realm to, yeah, to be supportive for yourself as well as anybody if you got to.
that's right.
And it's a hard thing to run with. I take meds for so I know. Missing
Now,
my
with
kids
top
for
internet and
7
mobile, the
years.
price of your plan won't go up for 3 years guaranteed. And you'll get what?
Yeah, you see what I mean? For 7 years, I missed my baby, so I know depression real hard.
I get it. Yeah. Depression is dealing with our
My
past.
anxiety was up over the roof, and at the time, I didn't know what words meant for the physical things I was going through. So it was different, and I had to learn a lot. But
Okay. Well, good. Well, that concludes our session 3 on anger management principles for parents. Want to thank you for joining us. You email me, I'll send you the slides. I'll send you a different uh, anger quiz that is not as awkward as this one that might be more relevant to your world.
okay,
All right.
it was nice. Thank you so much.
Thank you for
I
joining.
enjoyed you. Nice meeting you, Sean.
Likewise.
Bye,
Okay,
everyone.
bye.
Grace.
Yeah.
Neil, did you want us to send that assessment or
Yes, please.
oh, okay. I did complete it.
Okay.
Uh,
Thank you. Appreciate that.
well, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, I wanted to comment on the last one if I could.
Yeah.
Is that oh, thanks. My counselor therapist did say after about a year or two, I told her I'm feeling angry. And she said, "Well, I was wondering when you were going to start feeling angry."
Or acknowledging it, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
now that kind of makes sense because they said I was like depressed and anxious. I know I have anxiety issues, but yeah. So she said, "Yeah, I was wondered when you were gonna get angry."
Well, big
Okay.
step then. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
All right. Later.
Later.